with Lovable, why you should listen to me, as well as then perform a live product demo and try to build something live together with you guys. And I think, Uda, you mentioned something about questions. I'd prefer it if I can do my presentation and then get some product demo done. And then if you have any questions, make sure to post them in chat, and I'll get to them and try to answer as many as possible when I feel like it's fitting. So hopefully that sounds good. Without further ado.
Sorry, you can do your presentation first, and then if there's time, we do questions. And
yep.
Yeah, people can fill out in the chat, and we can collate them too.
Nice, cool. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm not really sure if you guys have heard about Lovable, but Lovable is a tool that allows you to go from idea to app in seconds using plain language. You simply write what you want, and then Lovable builds it for you. And this doesn't necessarily mean like super simple landing pages or websites. They can actually be functional. They actually work. You can add email sendouts, forms, payments, and whatever. It's really up to you. It's your imagination that sets the boundaries here. And we've seen super rapid growth. We've gone from 1 million in annual recurring revenue to 100 million in 8 months, which has never been done before. And it's in big part because of how much value the tool actually provides for the people that try it out and kind of get hooked on it, and then they can't stop building. And as I said, it's not only like nice looking websites, it's actually functional websites that can do things and create value for the users. So my name is Elias Belfrage. I work in the PX team here at Lovable, which stands for Product Experience. This basically means that I talk to a bunch of users, a bunch of our customers, try to gather their feedback, and then make sure to pass it on to the team, and to make sure that we actually improve on our product based on real feedback. And I've been at Lovable for 10 months now, which doesn't sound very long, but since it's a very short-lived company, this is a long time in Lovable time. And I've been building with Lovable, the tool, for just as long as I've been at Lovable. So hopefully I can teach you guys a thing or two today, thanks to my experience. Let's get into some examples of what you can create, some use cases. The first and most basic use case is probably the landing page. This one's super basic. You simply write, okay, I need a landing page for my business, and then Lovable creates it for you, and you can add whatever kind of information, images, whatever you'd like. And if you need a more functional, a more complex landing page, you could always add like user sign-in or forms or payments or whatever. You get the idea. Super basic, but can be very useful if you're starting a business. You can create games. I don't know if you guys ever played 2048 or Flappy Bird. This is super simply done using Lovable. You simply prompt for it, and then Lovable creates it for you. And then you can send it over to your friends or whatever if you want to make some sort of personal twist. Great use case, in my opinion. Another use case are internal tooling. It's basically when you have some sort of thing that you do in your day-to-day work or in your day-to-day life that's super repetitive, and it's the same thing over and over again. That you need to automate, and then you can create an internal tool or some sort of tool using Lovable that actually does this for you. So say, for example, you have this type of data that you want to format or kind of process in a specific way each time. You could, for example, create a tool with Lovable that does this and then outputs it in the correct format or processed in the correct way. And a couple of examples of this is, for example, here at Lovable, we've created an internal tool using Lovable, somewhat Inception-esque, but we've created an internal tool that allows us to grant credits to users, as well as do a bunch of different like actions and stuff on a user level. And this has proven super useful, and it's way faster than building these internal tools or internal dashboards using like ordinary programming to simply build it with Lovable. Another, like, you're not limited to like small internal tools. You can actually build working products, and we've seen a bunch of different examples of this. There is, for example, a startup called Quick Tables that does restaurant management that has done $120,000 in sales and it's built using Lovable. Another one's called FrameSage. It's a marketplace for financiers and movie makers to kind of match up and pair up. And they built it using Lovable in 10 days, and they've done $50,000 in revenue. So it can actually like create working products that users wanna pay for and start using directly. And another cool example of this that I encountered was that I actually traveled here in Sweden a couple of weeks ago, and when it was by train, so I sat down on the train, and then the guy next to me actually opened up his computer and started building stuff live next to me using Lovable, which was like kind of a surreal experience, super weird to see it happen in my day-to-day life. But I started chatting with him, and what he explained to me is that he had found a super niche use case that for him provided a lot of value. He was super into dog competitions, and basically he went to these dog competitions and had his dogs compete at them and race. And what he had built was he had realized that the hosts of these competitions didn't have a way of displaying the results or the schedule or like kind of anything that was going on at this competition. So he built a website for these hosts to kind of display the results of all the dogs that were competing, the schedule of the day, which dog was competing at the moment, and which dogs were going to compete. And since he was able to share this and then publish it using Lovable, it was public for everyone at these competitions to look at, and it provided like super clear value super quickly for this user as well as the entire competition. You could also create, for example, this slide deck. If you'd ever like to create a slide deck that's a bit more interactive, or you'd like to add some sort of special effect that's not possible using PowerPoint or Google Slides, you create one using Lovable and see where it takes you. And then pretty much anything else you can think of. What I've noticed is that often the limiting factor is more your imagination. You're kind of locked in this very narrow view of what can a website be. You think that Lovable can only create websites, but a website can mean a bunch of different things. It doesn't have to be this standard landing page. It can actually be like internal tools or something that helps you become way more productive or kind of process this type of data or so on. You get the idea. And with that said, I was thinking we could get into the product demo where I showcase Lovable. So I'll go to the Lovable tab here, and this is the landing page for Lovable. This is where you'll end up when you've created an account. I'm not really sure how familiar you guys are with Lovable. Has everyone used it before, or are you all complete new beginners?
Beginners.
I've used it a lot. My wedding website was made in Lovable.
Nice, cool. Okay, but then I think I'll
Also
kind of explain
beginners, yeah.
a bunch of the beginners. Then I'll kind of make sure to explain all of the core features, and then hopefully we can get to a bit more complex features as well at the end. So as I was saying, this is where you end up when you start Lovable. And this is the prompt box where you'll input your first prompt to get started on your project. So I've prepared a simple prompt here that says, I want to create an image generator using NanoBanana. Every image generated should be Halloween themed. The user should be able to input a prompt and the app will create an image based on it. So I'll send that away. And whilst that is working, I thought I'd kind of explain two core new features that are super cool that we released a couple of weeks ago that have already provided a bunch of value and that you guys can hopefully get to using. And to understand why these two features are so important, I thought I'd kind of explain quickly how a website is constructed. A website kind of consists of a front end, which is everything that you see. It's the buttons, it's the text, it's the small animations and so on your website. And then there's also often a backend, which is everything that you can't see. So it's stuff such as like stuff that enables users to log in, or stuff that enables users to add data or stuffs that, or like functions that enables the website to kind of communicate with other parts of the internet. As you understand, the backend solution is super important as well. The front end only does like stuff that looks visually nice, but it's never that useful. But the backend can actually be very useful. And beforehand, when you built with Lovable, you had to create a front end using Lovable, and then you had to create an external account on a backend provider. We mostly use Supabase, and you had to create an external account there, create your own project there, and then you had to link it to your Lovable project, and then from there you could go on and build stuff that required a backend. Lovable still handled like kind of the building part, but there was this like super manual and tedious process where you had to kind of create an account on an external provider. With our new feature called Lovable Cloud, all of this happens automatically. So as soon as Lovable realizes, okay, what the user is building right now needs a backend, it will automatically enable Lovable Cloud, and the complexity is completely handled by Lovable for you, and you can just get to building. The other feature that's really cool is called Lovable AI. It's when you if you'd like to implement some sort of AI functionality into your application, say for example this one where I wanted to be able to generate images based on a prompt. Beforehand, you had to manually create an account on an AI provider, set up your billing, create an LLM or create an API key, and then input it into Lovable and make sure that it works. With Lovable AI, this also happens automatically. So as soon as Lovable realizes that, okay, the user wants some sort of AI functionality, it actually adds this API key automatically and makes it work out of the box. And this allows for cool stuff like this, where I've sent one simple prompt and hopefully I've now created a spooky image generator that actually works. So I'll send something, to test it out, I'll send out a prompt that says something that shouldn't be Halloween themed, but we'll see what kind of image we get. So I'll send out send Santa Claus to see what kind of Santa Claus we get. So there's two parts of this. Hopefully it will create an image of a Santa Claus. So the AI image generation part actually works. And then hopefully it should also be, yeah, Halloween themed as we hope, because I added that as context. And now we have a working AI image generator using one simple prompt. Cool. And for those of you that aren't familiar with this interface, to the left here we have the chat, which is where you'll see your prompts, as well as how Lovable responds to them, where it describes what it's doing, what it's thinking about, which kind of tools it's using, and so on. And to the right you have the project preview, which is where you'll see your project, where you can try it out and see if the features are working, and so on. And what I'm thinking now is that I'd love to kind of showcase how fast you can iterate on your project and your application. Say you'd like to, okay, I'm not really happy with this image generator theme. I'd much rather have some other type of theme. Then iterating inside of Lovable is super easy. You simply ask for it and say what you're not happy with and how you'd like it changed. So I'd say, okay, not happy with the Halloween theme. Change it to England theme. Let's see if that works. Search the internet, and fetch a great. Let's change it to Great Britain theme. Search internet and fetch Great Britain flag to include in all images. And this hopefully showcases two super cool features of Lovable. Partly the speed of iteration, how fastly you can change based on. So like in theory, this would be based on you create something using Lovable, then you publish it, which I'll talk about later on, to kind of get real users to try your project out, to see to get some real feedback on like, okay, which parts are working, which parts aren't working, what's providing value and what's not providing value. And then you can, like, inside of Lovable, go back to Lovable and then simply like iterate and make changes to the project as you go based on real feedback. The other cool feature that it will hopefully showcase is that it can search the internet. So here you'll see that it actually searched the internet, found the Great Britain UK flag, high resolution, downloaded it, and hopefully it will now include it in these images somehow. Let's see how it goes. And this can be super useful if you, for example, are such as this, you'd like to import something, or you'd like to you'd like to like, for example, make a replica of an already existing website, or kind of import a theme from an already existing website. And what we saw just was that, okay, Lovable it made a bunch of changes. It was, as you can see here in the tool calls, it's searching and it started editing. And then whilst editing, it realized, okay, something in this code is not correct. It's not working right now. And then Lovable actually realized this itself. The Lovable agent realized this and made changes on the fly to make sure it actually works. So we got a working version here, even though we saw a bunch of errors whilst building. Let's see here if we can create something. Let's go for Santa Claus again and see if it gets the correct theme. All images feature the Union Jack and iconic British elements. That sounds good to me. If that's not very British, I'm not really sure what would be. Cool. Right now, that's really like a way to show how great the tool is at like iterating fast and going fast. From there, I thought I'd showcase a very useful feature that I find myself using all the time. It's called the Visual Edits tool. It's down here in the prompt box. You simply press it. And when you have it activated, you can actually select different components of your website. So I think I'll select this one. And from there, I can make a bunch of changes. I can change the color, change the font size, change the padding. And the most useful one is probably, okay, I can change the text directly here. So I'll create magnificent, I'll add a bunch of question marks here at the end because it's really British flair. And then I'll press save. And now I've actually made a lasting change to my project here, and that's how it's going to show up. And this is great because if you just like to make some small tech changes, as well as keeping in mind that this one using visual edits doesn't deduct any credits. So that can be very, very useful to keep in mind. Another very useful feature is the restore feature that allows you to go back in time to that specific version. It doesn't necessarily have to be the last one. It can actually be ones above that. So I'll simply press restore here. And what will happen now is that I'll go back in time to the version where I didn't have the exclamation marks. And this is useful. There's like mainly two use cases for this. It's when you realize, okay, this feature was not what I wanted. Let's go back in time. Let's remove it and implement some other feature. Or this feature wasn't implemented correctly. This is like, it's not working right now. So when you're building with Lovable, what you'll find is that sometimes you'll end up in error loops. You try to implement a feature, and then it doesn't work on the first try. And then when you try to like talk with Lovable and say, okay, this isn't working, could you please investigate? It doesn't work the second time, and then you continue investigating. It doesn't work the third time. And then after like 3 or 4 tries, the best way forward is usually backwards. So you restore to a version before you implemented a feature, and then try like a completely different approach at implementing the same feature. And that, I'd say, are the two like main use cases of the restore functionality. All right. From there, I suggest we add authentication because a website like this can't be released to the public. I need to safeguard it, make sure that only people that I allow actually are able to use my British image generator. So I'll ask Lovable here, add authentication. Authentication. And what will happen now is that since I've already enabled Lovable Cloud, it will automatically set this up without me having to interfere anything. It will hopefully just make it work, which is super cool and means I've actually created something useful and something that's somewhat protected with like 3 simple prompts. And whilst that is working, I thought we'd go over kind of like the UI here to make sure that everyone feels confident with what all different parts can do. So down here in the chat box, you have a couple of different options. You have the plus here, which means that you can, from here, you can attach images to your prompt, which I'll showcase later on, but that can be super useful. We also have the visual edits tool that I showed off. We have the chat mode, which is a mode that when you press this, you'll go into like simply a mode where you're able to chat with Lovable without allowing it to make any real changes to you. It won't be able to edit the code. And this can be super useful when you're, for example, thinking about where to move next, which feature to implement next. Then you can enter chat mode and kind of discuss with Lovable to see where you should go. And it can also be useful when you're stuck in an error loop. Then you can enter chat mode and kind of ask Lovable to really investigate the issue before. And what will most likely happen then is that Lovable invests the issue and finds a couple of different things that aren't working right now. Then it will create a plan for how to fix this. And then you simply press implement plan, and then everything should hopefully work fine. We also have the voice mode, which allows you to simply speak your prompts instead of having to write them. Okay, let's try it out. We don't have an account, so let's sign up. And it does seem to work. Cool. Now I'm signed in and I can generate images. Nice. Let's sign out again. And now before we move on, I do think another cool feature that we should be able to add super simply is probably some sort of like, all right, I generate some images here. Oh, wrong credentials. I just want to showcase here. All right, so I generate some images, but I'm not able to actually export them. They're still stuck here in my project. So I'd like to add the feature to be able to download them to make sure that I can use them wherever I'd like. So I'll simply ask Lovable for that. Download load of image generated. Super simple prompt, but hopefully Lovable will get the idea and kind of implement the functionality that I'm looking for. And whilst that is working, I thought we'd go over a few more like parts. Up here, we have a couple of different options. We have the code mode, which basically shows you all of the code that your project consists of. And you can also go from, like I find myself often looking at going from this code card to the code, which is where you'll see all of the changes in code that were made with that edit. You also have the cloud tab, which is where you'll find all of the options for cloud. And like you have the database, which is if you create some sort of functionality where the user is able to upload data or the project somehow stores data, you'll see it here. You have some user settings where you can change, so you like different providers and so on. You also have storage, and then a concept worth noting further is edge functions. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with edge functions, but I thought I'd like the most simple way that I usually explain them are that they're functions that kind of allow your application to communicate externally with different parts of the internet or other things or other applications, basically. So for example, right now I have one edge function called generate Halloween image that allows me to it combines my right now it's still wrongly named Halloween image, but it's the British image generator right now. But it combines the context of the British image as well as my prompt, sends it away to an image generator that's hosted somewhere externally, or like a model hosted externally, and then also receives this output and makes sure that the image gets displayed to me as a user. And that's like, with that in mind, you can kind of imagine how useful edge functions can be when, because it's really when your application starts being able to do a bunch of different stuff, take a bunch of different input and then output a like entire row of different outputs that you're able to kind of provide some real value. So we have the British Santa Claus here, and I'm also able to download it actually. Cool, as a PNG. So that's working live for you guys. After that, I thought I'd showcase the last feature before I allow for some questions, perhaps. Or we can take some questions now, actually. Do we have any in chat?
Yes. Stephen has been asking a few in the chat. We usually ask people to come and ask. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Stephen, I know you've been typing a few questions. Stephen, do you want to come on and introduce yourself and ask your question? Stephen? Okay, maybe we can take the people with their hands up for now and then get back to the chat. I see, sorry, DM, what's your name? David, do you want to ask a question?
Hi there, and thanks for the introduction. I was curious about the authentication, because it's a notoriously difficult challenge in order to save credentials in a secure manner in line with modern cybersecurity norms and practices. And so I was wondering, how does Lovable get it right reliably and consistently? So how do you know that your credentials will be handled in a cyber secure way by Lovable?
Great question. So how it works is that we're not setting up like the entire user authentication flow each time. We were actually, so under the hood, Lovable Cloud is a backend provider called Supabase, and they have this like natively built into their product. So we're just kind of hooking up onto that, and that's why it's secure and works every time. Was that a response to your question?
Yeah, so it's just calling it. It's so you can guarantee that it's calling Supabase every single time.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And it doesn't do it's never done its own thing. Tried to make its own credentials. What's a credential provider?
It doesn't do that natively. No, it always uses Lovable Cloud. It should do at least.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Next question.
Hi, I think I'm just gonna jump in to save time. Okay, so I was wondering, this is one web page that has two functions, one land page. How do you, or what is the advice if I need the website experience to be like 5 different pages, let's say 3 options on each, so that whenever you click, you move to the next and the next? What would be the best way to actually write the prompt? Because I imagine if right now you tell Lovable, like for instance, what we've created is the second page, the first one is the sign in, and then I need a third one. I'm not sure how it's going to work, so that we don't confuse Lovable in our train of thought. If you could just share with us, like, what are the tips, or there's like a template that you might have that is usually what you use to first sort out your ideas, the logic around it, and then you put that into Lovable.
Great question. That's that's the hard part with prompt engineering and kind of what is a very like cool skill to have right now. I'd say if you want to achieve that setup, I'd simply try asking Lovable for it. Okay, I'll have this. I want to build a website with these 5 pages that should be linked in this very like timely and orderly manner. And if you'd like to, if one workflow that I've seen users have success with is writing to ChatGPT or some sort of LLM and kind of writing up exactly how you imagine it, and then ask them to craft the prompt and make sure to like add stuff such as like please ask clarifying questions if something's unclear, and that I've seen people have a bunch of success using that technique. Yeah. Cool. Matthias, go ahead.
Hello, hi, Elias. Thank you so much for your time. And well, I absolutely love Lovable. I use it quite a lot, actually. And I have a few questions. I will try to sum them up because I've had a few different projects on Lovable, and they're related to the projects that I've had. So the first basic question would be, how is it for creating apps for Android or iOS native app? That would be the first thing. The second thing is, and that's a bit more related to your back end. So you have your integration with Supabase, but for example, in my startup, we use AWS and GCP as our backend because we have some credits there, and I've struggled a bit, for example, with integrating Lovable with Cognito for user authentication, for instance, setting up like a CloudFront protection, for example, to prevent DDoS or issues like that, setting up cookies as well to track user behavior if I'm doing online sales, for instance, and also federated login. That's been a major issue that I was setting it up, log in with Google, log in with Apple, and stuff like that. Also, terms of service, that's also another issue that I face. So it's like a few different things that when we're trying to get them into production, and that I actually require, for example, to do a sale, integrating it with Stripe, for example, that's something I usually struggle a bit. I'm not entirely sure if that's there's a way that I could do it more efficiently using Lovable, or if I actually have to use Supabase, and if I'm using different cloud backend providers, then I kind of have to code that bit myself. But regardless, Lovable is really, really good. I think it's the best thing that's... and by the way, even though I have an AI startup, I'm somewhat skeptical when it comes to Gen AI, but I am 100% big, massive fan of Lovable because this thing is amazing. So cool. Yeah, I think it's more of these questions about, well, specific things that we need to put systems into production for the login, authentication, using different clouds and iOS systems. Thank you.
So in order, currently Lovable is not able to like natively create Android apps or App Store applications or iOS applications, but it is doable if you use like you could either wrap them as PWAs or you could with some like developer knowledge and know-how, you could get them to the App Store and or Google Play Store. But that takes a lot more from your side, so it doesn't happen naturally. And regarding like using different backend providers, this is also something it is doable. But since we've optimized the flow for Lovable Cloud as it is right now, it would introduce a bunch of different frictions from your side. So it doesn't happen very, very easily for you, sadly, and would require a lot more from you. But it's definitely doable.
Okay. And what about, for example, integrating with cookies? Because cookies are not exactly a backend issue, but it's really important when you're doing sales, to track when people are where your churn happens at the end of the day, right? So do you have anything like that? I mean, I just integrated with a Google Analytics account or whatever.
I've actually never tried it out myself to build it, so I'm not actually sure how well it plays with Lovable. And I'm not aware of like any documentation or such that we have to guide you on this, sadly.
Okay, no,
so
that's fine.
No good answer to that question, sorry.
No problem. I mean, it's a minor detail, so not that hard to vibe code myself. But yeah, thank you so much for your answers.
No worries. Kayan, go ahead.
Hiya. Thank you for your presentation. This is phenomenal. My question is, can Lovable perform a function where the website or platform that you create uses AI in itself to, for example, verify products for authenticity, for example, because the platform that you create through Lovable will need to train itself with the data from manufacturers to be able to verify those said products?
It is doable. It would take a bit more from your side and a bit more understanding of kind of how. But what this basically would be is that you somehow have you maybe have an image of this product that you then send away to AI to kind of analyze it, and with the right, as long as you provide the correct context to this AI together with this image, the analyzing would occur as you'd like it to. So it's kind of like a matter of designing this, how you pass this context on to this external AI. And that's definitely doable within Lovable.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Michalis, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Nice presentation. My question is regarding rights. So any projects you create on Lovable, say that if you want to publish them or even sell them at a later stage, being a company, say you create a dashboard internal where users can log in and have client and company interactions. Does Lovable own the rights to that, or how does that work in terms of any projects you have on Lovable?
We don't own any rights to your project. It's all yours when you created it. So you're free to do whatever you'd like with it. And if you'd like, I think I can showcase that directly. So when you finish your project, as I feel like I finished my project now, I've added authentication and I have the core functionality that I wanted. What you can do is go to this publish button here. You press publish, and then you can change a bunch of different settings. You can change the favicon, which is the small image that appears here up on your browser tab. You can change the description as well as the share image, which is what shows up when you share your project on, for example, or share the link to your project in, for example, WhatsApp or whatever. You can also find the option to perform a security scan, which basically checks your project for any security issues or like risks with leakage of data or so on. But in the interest of time, I won't do that now, sadly. But from here, you can also publish. And once you press publish, this website will go live on this link wide on the internet for anyone to access and look at and see and find. Or you could, for example, add a custom domain if you have one of those. Was that an answer to your question?
Yeah, that sounds very good. Thank you very much.
All right. Kutlu, go ahead.
Thanks, Elias. So I see this is very useful to have an MVP up and running. At what point does it run into constraints in terms of user numbers or kind of database size or bandwidth? Are you planning that people just use it until certain size, and after a point people need to build another product and migrate? What are best practices or recommendations for thinking ahead and planning for this?
I'd say that from what I'm seeing and from what I'm hearing from users actively using the product, it's never an issue of Lovable not being able to host the website. We have the scale to make sure that websites are hosted. It's more of a one issue that you'll run into is that currently there's a big limitation in separating production environment from development environment. So once I've set my product live, I might like to make some changes and change stuff live. And this works super well if I only make front-end changes, because these changes won't go live to my live website and my custom domain unless I press update down here. But if you make any changes to your backend, those will actually go live directly. So this means that you're in a tough situation where it's really hard to continue building on your application once you've actually pushed it and have some real users, because of the risk of actually ruining the application while it's building. And that's probably like the biggest limitation, this, that you're not able to separate production and development. But like sheer scale, I've never seen been a problem.
Thank you.
Grace, please go ahead.
All right. Thanks, Elias. I just want to know if for anything like a customer database, which has like a larger scale of the customer informations, is Lovable capable to store those customer database? And also, if it's not, what will be the best tool to integrating with Lovable?
I'm sadly not the best person to respond to like data protection questions. I think I must defer you to our terms of service. We have some lines about it there. Yeah, sorry, sadly I can't respond to that better.
All right, no worries.
One more question? No more questions.
Did you get to ask your question? I see your hand is still up.
Yeah, I think he had. Grace did as well. James, go ahead. You have a question.
Hi, sorry for struggling to get off mute as usual. Thank you very much. Really very interesting presentation. I would like to ask the same question that Stephen did in the chat earlier, please. I had the same one, which is about the ability to export the code. I have a similar, I'm a complete beginner, complete novice, hold my hand up to that. I have a similar impression to Kutlu in terms of this being extraordinarily useful as an MVP, but especially the comments that you made afterwards about not being able to separate the live version from a development version in order to iterate. Give the impression that there is probably a scale limitation at some point. And so how easy is it then to take the code and export it and actually get people to look at it? Is that a function of this, or is this a very closed environment?
No, you're perfectly free to export it. You can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Up here in the top right, you have the option to sync your project to GitHub, and GitHub is a way to export, or it's a way to host code. So basically, what happens when you press here and you connect your GitHub and then follow the steps, all of the code will get exported to your GitHub account, and from there you're free to do whatever you'd like with it. So you can continue iterating on it elsewhere, or yeah, it's really up to you then from then on.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you. May I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah.
I don't want to tread on people's toes if other people have questions. The project I have in mind is a data collection project that people input certain responses to a questionnaire. What I have in mind, what I imagine on the basis of zero expertise or experience in this, is that those responses get registered in a form of database, and then what I need to do is to build a tool to essentially draw comparisons between different people's responses and to produce suggestions as a result. And I wonder whether Lovable would be able to, from a very brief description, you think Lovable would be able to build that type of tool?
Yeah, definitely. There's probably a bunch of different ways that you could go about doing this, but what it basically would come down to is you getting this input and then somehow classifying it probably using some sort of AI functionality that kind of like summarizes it or gives it some sort of tags or such. And then from there, it should be a quite easy like function where it just compares these tags or these like summaries and kind of like categorizes them based on that.
And would it need to work in conjunction with a separate provider, like a database provider, for example, or would it be able to build the database itself?
It will be able to build the database itself inside of Lovable.
Okay. And then, sorry, finally, just thinking about the holes I'm going to fall into and the tangle I'm going to get myself in when trying to do this. Do you have a kind of like a help function where you can talk to somebody about a problem you've run into to get help in resolving it if you're struggling to create the result that you have in mind?
Great question. Currently, we don't provide. We only provide the tool as it is right now, and then it's up to you as the user to do the building. But we do have a very active community on Discord that I do think you should have a look at and join. There's a bunch of people sharing their projects and sharing what they run into, which issues. So give that a try and see that if it helps if you run into errors.
Thank you very much indeed. That's extremely helpful.
No worries. Ehard, go ahead.
Hi, Elias. How are you?
Good, good.
Thank you so much for giving us, a bit of an introduction about Lovable. Maybe this is also a question that is connected with James, concerns, and that is also how likely is Lovable to, hallucinate? Have you heard of AI hallucinations?
Yeah.
When working with data sets, how accurately is it able to really work with that data and also give it certain output that's going to be obviously useful?
Well, it kind of depends on what data set you're referring to, but as all other AI, Lovable is prone to hallucination. From what I've seen, it's mostly it kind of getting stuck on certain. I've mostly seen it take the shape of users trying to implement some sort of functionality. Then runs into an issue. It's not working right now. And then Lovable tries to fix it, says it has fixed it, but then it's still not fixed. And it's kind of like stuck in this hallucination mode where it's not realizing that the fix that it's trying to implement won't work. And then it's just running over and over again in the same loop. Hallucinating data, I haven't seen happen. There's like Lovable has the ability to upload entire files and such. So if you were trying to like upload data to your prompt, it should work. Or maybe you could specify more what you're asking.
Well, it's just in general, obviously, working with any type of data set, in order to like visualize something, how accurately it would visualize, a data set, or even when it comes to researching information. For example, the British flag image generator that you created here.
Yeah.
What if it like creates a flag that is not the British flag?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like accurately displaying data, I'd say often works. Or like when I've tried it out, it works because like if it displays data, it doesn't necessarily use AI to do it. It's often more of like, okay, you have this entire table of these values, and then it uses actual code to implement this graph of the data.
What type of LLM does Lovable use?
We use a bunch of different ones, depending on
like a mixture.
Yeah, it's a mixture, but I'd say it's mostly Claude at the moment.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No worries. We have a question here in chat from Steven, so I think I'll go to that. And it's benefits of Lovable versus other vibe coding tools such as Replit, Google, AI Studio, Base 44, etc. That's a tough question to answer. there's a bunch of competitors that all do very much alike. I've mostly used Lovable, and I find it to be a great tool for the use case. But I think it's up to you guys to kind of test them all and see what you like the most. Next question from Merly, perhaps.
Hi, thank you. So we touch a bit onto the Supabase functions. If no one else has a question, could we possibly briefly, I'm aware of time, check like how Lovable can integrate a third-party API service, for example, for payments and things like that, into, sort of like REPL stuff.
Yeah, great question. I do think that it can be it's a quite complex subject. In general, what you do is that you have this external API that you'd like to connect, and if some of them are natively built into Lovable and will work out of the box, and Lovable kind of understands them. Some are not natively understood by Lovable, and for those you'll have to first explain how this API works, what's possible with it, and then after that, Lovable should be able to understand it and kind of build around that. And to do that, you could perhaps share the the kind of rules and what applies for that API with Lovable beforehand, starting to build. And if you need more context on this, I'd suggest you go into our documentation, where we have a long guide on implementing APIs.
Okay, so through the website, or could you possibly share a link with us?
Yeah, I'll share a link.
Thank you.
1 second. Lovable.
I know exactly what I wanted to do, so then just to see how I should give it the command, sort of saying.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Kinsaw has one question. Go ahead. I think your mic's still muted.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No worries.
Hi, Elias. Thanks for the presentation. It's really good. So I would like to ask, I think someone earlier asked, I think probably it's Patrick, that he mentioned about when it's come to the exportation of the code, and you mentioned it's possible, right? I'm just wondering, is there any restriction in terms of when we export the code, is like 100% that we can export? And that's my first question. And my second question is that I want to know how about the privacy or security issue regarding the Lovable platform, and how secure is it with the thing that we generated in here in Lovable platform? Is it like 100% secure? So it's not available like someone searching out in the Google that can get access to it, those kind of thing. Thank you.
So for your first question, you'll be able to export all of it.
So there's no restriction, those kind of stuff, right?
No.
Okay.
One potential friction point could be if you've used Lovable Cloud.
Yes.
Then you'll have to migrate it to hold your own backend solution. But that's doable. We have a guide in our documentation as well, if you'd like to look at that, and if that becomes actual.
Sure.
And then, but that works. So no worries about that.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
And then to your second question, what was it again? Can you remind me?
Sorry, no problem. I mean, like how secure it is with the Lovable platform, what we built in there. So is there somebody like by searching Google out there that, because of the AI, right? So it's just like nowadays, anything you use like ChatGPT, if you put something in there, I mean, like it's available out there in the internet, right? So I mean, like how is it in terms of the privacy and security issue for the Lovable in that aspect?
So like the actual your project editor and the messages that you send inside of Lovable.
So basically, like I generated a website or an ad, right, with a Lovable.
Yeah.
So is that something that is a proprietary only to me, or someone who's searching out in the Google out there that can get access, or is it made available out there as well? From that perspective.
So like the the Lovable side of things, where you're like the building part, where you're building the project editor.
So basically, like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm using the
I'll
level.
respond to, yeah. I think I got your question.
Okay, yeah.
No worries. So that part is secure. It's as long as you put it on like a private setting, it won't
Okay.
be leaked. No one will be able to access that. No need to
I
worry.
see. Okay, okay.
But your actual application, whether
Yes.
that's secure or not, kind of depends on how you build it.
Okay.
But we have several like steps put in place to make sure that, or to kind of like make sure that our users build safe stuff.
Okay.
So I, for example, briefly touched on our security scan.
Mm-hmm.
That's a feature that allows you to scan your project and look to kind of make sure that there's no obvious like security issues with your application, where people can access data that they shouldn't be able to access, or log in, or so on. So that does like a basic security scan, and then we also have in our documentation some guides on setting up safe projects.
And just to clarify that, when you mentioned that depends on how we build a website. If I make it private, then it's fine. But if I make it public, does it mean that people from outside, they can get access to my website, but not necessarily to the code part, right?
No, so they're private inside of Lovable, and making it public would then be publishing your website. If you never publish it, no one will be able to access it. But if you press publish, that's when it goes live on the internet, and then anyone can go to that link and find your website.
Yeah. So yeah, for that perspective, it's fine. But once I make it public, but my code is not going to be published, right?
No, that's still it's the website that's
only
that's
the website is published, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool, that's fine. All right, thank you then. Thanks.
No worries.
So I also want to come in with Zineb's question from the chat. They asked, does Lovable allow for 3D vision integration or audio interaction?
3D vision integration, it doesn't happen natively, or it depends. Like 3D, do you mean like some sort of VR goggles, or are you talking about some other stuff?
Zineb, if you can write in the chat to clarify your question, that'd be helpful. But if we do say yes to the 3D, if it was VR, is there a function there?
That doesn't happen natively, no. But you could, in theory, prompt it to build that and take that input and get it displayed and do whatever you'd like with it. But I've never seen it done by any user.
And audio interaction?
Same thing there, I'd say. Yeah. It's probably doable, but it doesn't happen natively.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Matthias, go ahead.
You mentioned the security feature to check if the website has any problems. How do you do this? Is it just a prompt like Lovable, please check if my website is secured, or is it a specific thing that I have to do to make it work?
So I think I can share my screen and I will showcase it live here together. It's a security scan feature. So what it basically does is that it looks at let's see here. Maybe, yeah, right. It scans the project to find any like obvious security flaws, and to find it, you go up here, and it's this small shield. So you press the security, and then from here you can press here, and then it will perform a security scan. And it's completely free of charge. No credits are deducted. And then it kind of looks at your project and sees kind of what's okay and what's not okay. And then you'll be able to see all of the different warnings and issues down here, and also be able to try to fix them. So that's how it works.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, hopefully it stops people from releasing super unsecure apps.
Putting the API key public on the code.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, David, go ahead.
And thank you. So we've got two questions. First is a quick question. So once you publish, would your website appear on search engine results, or not?
It is live on the internet, but then like appearing on search engine results is a super complex subject, and it's very it takes a lot from your side to rank high on a search engine. So it won't
It would be indexed, is my
yeah,
question.
it should be indexed.
Okay, perfect. And the second thing is, I wanted to know whether it was built into Lovable when it was designing websites, whether it would be amenable to people using assistive technology to access the websites, such as sight readers and, well, like so lots of other technologies I'm not fully aware of. Is that disability and accessibility built in to the product?
Like accessibility by robots, basically, pretty much, or like by
So could someone with disability use assistive technology?
sorry. That I've gotten that question quite a lot. It's yeah. I'd suggest I don't think it's built in this like making sure that the website is accessible. But you could there's a feature called custom knowledge where you can add text that Lovable will take into account at each prompt. So you can add like add a small text there that says make sure to design an accessible website. And then you could of course like iterate on it yourself and see that where okay, this part isn't accessible enough. Please make sure it is. So that's how I'd say to work towards that.
Okay, but it's not built in by default.
Not. I'm not sure. I'm not super well read on like the accessibility standards and what should be built to make sure it's accessible. So I can't really answer that question, Sally.
Okay, thank you.
James, go ahead.
Thank you. Better prepared on the mic button this time. When you press publish, is Lovable hosting all of these sites? Is hosting still a thing? I don't know. And sort of attached to that, if you have a domain name that you want to attach to it, I presume there's just a functionality where you can say this is the domain name to post to to direct you to the website. That seems simpler. The first one I think is piqued my curiosity. Who's actually where do all these websites actually live?
So they're actually hosted on our domain. So as you can see, once you publish, it goes live on Phantom, like the project name, .lovable.app. So it becomes a subdomain of our domain. And if you'd like, you could add a custom domain just as you asked, and you'll be able to add it, and then it should work quite quickly. So yeah, super easy to do.
Is that all included in the subscription?
Yeah, exactly.
Cost?
As long as you're on a paying plan, you can add custom domains. But even free users can actually publish and host the website using the lovable.app subdomain.
Okay, and then are there limitations to the size or user numbers? I think somebody else asked a similar question to this earlier, but relating to that hosting, because obviously you could be spawning a kind of infinite amount of data storage capacity.
Yeah, great question. So currently we have like the hosting part, we don't have any setup boundaries as it is right now, because we've never seen anyone have like rack up that much traffic to cause issues actually. But regarding if you build a project that uses some sort of cloud functionality, either AI or like database storage and data storage and so on, that's something that we kind of keep track of. And as it is right now, you get $25 free cloud usage and then $1 free AI usage per month. And that doesn't really say much to you guys, but what it basically means is that you can host a couple of small projects without having to pay anything for the hosting or for the cloud part of the hosting. But once you have larger projects with more like data transfers and more users and so on, you'll start having to add some usage to that. But it should be good to go.
Very good. Thank you.
Cool. So I do have a question as well.
Yeah.
So a few weekends ago, I used Lovable to create a landing page. So I have a side business. I do tarot reading, and I loved using Lovable. It was like great to finally get a website that looks so professional, and I did it in a weekend. And I was, it's a little bit, we have discussed this before about how if, I have a domain and things and you've got it onto the GitHub, and I'm trying to weigh up my options, like, do I stay on Lovable? Do I go do the GitHub? Do I do something else? But my biggest thing is if I want to make edits. So let's say I do take it off of, go the GitHub route like we talked about, but then what if I then want to do edits to it later? What's that process like? Would I then have to copy the code off? And then also I'm not technical, so what's the easiest way of doing that if I get it off? Do I then go back to Lovable to then make edits?
So great question. I'd suggest staying on Lovable to host, but I'm a bit biased probably.
Fair.
But if you choose to export it to GitHub, it's a two-way sync. So any changes that you make to Lovable inside of Lovable to your project will go to your GitHub, and any changes that you make in your GitHub repo will actually move into Lovable directly. So there's like no need of sync them manually. It will happen automatically.
Okay.
So in theory, what you could do is that you export it to GitHub and then host it elsewhere. Why? I don't really know. It's super easy to host inside of Lovable. So I much prefer that. But then if you do that and then you make some changes inside of Lovable, those will automatically get pushed to your GitHub repo, and then depending on how you host it elsewhere, it will get pushed to that other hosting as well.
Yeah. Cool. No, thank you.
No
I
worries.
think I'm just thinking of like different options of like price points and things like that. And it's interesting because I didn't realize it was that two-way street. But GitHub, I'm not technical, but does that mean like any coding is needed to make changes in GitHub? That's maybe a very basic question, but since I don't use GitHub,
like in GitHub, you won't see a live preview of your website. You'll only see the code. So you'll have to change.
I have to meet some coders. Okay.
Yeah.
Potentially. Cool. Wait, sorry. Elias trying to say something to me.
All right, James, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm hogging the floor, but this is just keeps on giving me more questions. Building on Udai's question, sorry if I've mispronounced your name there, but is it possible to maintain? Is that a way of maintaining a development site and a working site, to export one version to get to a point in Lovable where you're happy with it, export it to GitHub, and then maintain effectively a copy of it in Lovable, which you can then work on behind the scenes and then export that out to GitHub once that's ready? Is that a thing, or is that complete misunderstanding of the way it works?
No, that's doable. Like GitHub, this becomes very technical, but GitHub has like version control through a feature called branching, which basically means that that there are several versions of your code, and then you can push changes to this branch that go live on this branch, but this branch is still unchanged. It's still working as it should. And then you can kind of change which one is your live version and which one's the one you're making edits on. And then when you feel like these changes are the ones that you'd like, you can merge it back onto the main branch. So that's like kind of technical, but there are workarounds to make sure that works.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, last question. Martin, go ahead.
Thanks for the great talk. I just had a question about the credits and about you know, like if you're prompting Lovable to make these different platforms or whatever you're making, how many credits you're going to go through per prompt, or if like it changes depending on what you're prompting it to do, that sort of thing. Thank you.
So it depends on the complexity of your prompt. If your prompt is super advanced and tries to implement 3 core features at once, it will cost a lot, or it will deduct a more substantial amount of credits. Whilst a super simple prompt that simply is like, oh, change this text or change this icon, will deduct way fewer credits. For example, this project that we built here live, I'd like think it used like 5. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was 4 prompts and probably used somewhere in the region of 5, 6, 7 credits.
Okay, great, thank you. And I read on the website that I think there's a daily limit of 5. Is it 5 credits?
That depends on which plan you're on. If you're on a free, so how it works is that each user gets 5 daily credits, and then if you're on a plan, you get monthly credits as well on top of these daily credits that you can use whenever in this billing period.
Oh, okay.
So you have 5 daily credits and then whatever you have on your monthly plan as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Hi, Elias. I hope it's okay. I come on with another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, you know, going back to my previous question about hosting and organizing elsewhere. So people part of the Oxbridge-AIx community, they also get, like startups get access to Microsoft for Startups and Azure credits, like up to 150K. So do you have any ideas of how people could utilize both those credits and the Lovable credits together?
Great question. What's like Microsoft first? I'm not familiar, sadly, with what
Like
does
it's
those
your
credits?
like the cloud credits.
All right, so it's a backend solution, or what does it? What kind of like
AWS
Okay.
credits? Yeah, does that help?
Yeah. So it would since Lovable doesn't like natively integrate with those providers, it would be harder to utilize those credits. But if you'd really like to, you could definitely do it with some technical knowledge.
Okay, cool. So that's something we can, take on board of how to move forward. Cool. If there are any other questions, last questions, I know we've been going for over an hour, oh, Martin, I see you have some questions about the credits. We can take that. We'll send some comments around that because that's an Oxbridge-AIx thing. But Elias, thank you so much for coming today and doing a demo. I mean, like everyone was quite great questions coming through, and very happy that we have such access to you. Oh.
All right, this is officially the most subscribed masterclass we've ever had.
Ooh.
You beat us. You beat the other one by 1.
Nice. Yay.
Cool. Yeah.
Great.
No, but that's great, and it's great to empower founders and non-technical people. So it's really cool what Lovable's doing, and that we have such access to it.
Yeah, definitely. Always happy to host these kind of sessions, and it's super fun to see the excitement and see that people are actually excited to use the tool, and hopefully it has been useful to everyone. Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah, and after I've recorded my thing, I'm such a convert. Lovable's great now. Yeah,
Nice.
You just have to like sit with it because the first thing it spits out is like okay, but the more you spend with it, the more you're like, no, this is actually really amazing what it can do.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us on a Monday. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Have a great
Thank you,
night. See ya.
Elias.